Whoa! Welcome to Dynasty Vipers Viper Strikes. This is a brand new this week. We review each game of Week 10 as we wait for. We're following the Raiders and the Chiefs going into halftime right now with the used to be Oakland Raiders, the new Vegas Raiders, leading 17-14. You'd think by Week 11 I'd have that Vegas Raiders and Oakland Raiders thing kind of figured out by now. Not true. So without further ado, here we go. I'm trying to see if we can pull off find the link for the people so we can post it out there. Calvin, just kind of give the viewers here a little insight of what we're doing right now.
Yeah, so we thought it would be really nice to have a chance to break down what we saw in the action today while everybody's got halftime. So instead of, whatever it is you were going to do, I don't know what you're going to do in your halftime. Nothing. Be productive. No, don't be productive. Let's go ahead. Let's dig into the matchups today. Let's talk about them. Let's see what jumped out. And yeah, this is fun. We're going to try and go through these games quickly. So,
and as always, if we get hit up with questions, we're more than happy to answer these questions on the fly as we go. But without further ado, let's head to Baltimore for the first game. We had an overtime matchup, Titans-Ravens. Let's see what you got, Calvin.
J.K. Dobbins is the story of this game. I mean, other than the fact that now the Baltimore Ravens are on the outside of the playoffs looking in, but it was great to see what J.K. Dobbins did today. My only caution is this. So best case scenario for him has been what Mark Ingram was last year. I keep thinking in terms of this offense, that's going to be the best case scenario for him. 17 touches. He looked good. We're excited. 17 touches is a low amount for someone to become an RB1. But you might say Mark Ingram did it last year. And yes, he did. But that was a very high touchdown amount. So excited to see what J.K. Dobbins is doing. That's really, 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 really good. But if somebody's going to give you top 5 running back type return, might not be a bad idea to use this to sell him. We called Mark Andrews a slump buster this week. Ding, ding, ding. That one hit. He had a really good game with a touchdown. And then just on the other side, really quickly, the Titans are a legit good offense right now. Ryan Tannehill's playing great. They have 2 excellent receivers. Jonnu Smith is a great receiving tight end. And this, of course, is time for Derrick Henry to show up, to be who he is. And he looked every bit of that today against the Baltimore defense, expecting more of that as the season progresses and we get into those really good matchups in the fantasy playoffs for him. So, yeah, it was a good game.
Mark Andrews is doing a little slump busting, and A.J. Brown was just doing all kinds of busting. He was a man amongst boys. Moving along, Detroit, Carolina. Teddy Bridgewater was out, then he was back in, and then he was back out. Didn't matter. P.J. Walker steps in, comes in, gets a big dub. Carolina's young defense pitches a shutout against Matt Stafford and the Detroit Lions. Adrian Peterson, 7 carries, 18 yards. Kerryon Johnson, who I thought had a possibility of having a good game because DeAndre Swift was out with a concussion, did not perform. TJ Hawkinson got a little banged up. Marvin Jones, obviously Kenny Golladay was out. On the flip side, PJ Walker, 24 of 34, 258 yards, 1 touchdown. He did have those 2 picks that kind of killed it. Mike Davis and Christian McCaffrey's absence, again, 19 carries, 64 yards, 1 touchdown. And DJ Moore, comes up big, 7 catches, 127 yards, did not score. He let that happen for Curtis Samuel to get in the end zone. But DJ Moore, 2 weeks in a row, is getting rolling just in time for your fantasy playoffs. Moving along, Philadelphia Eagles, Cleveland Browns. Hit us.
Bridgewater is still the better quarterback, by the way. Don't get carried away. Philadelphia and Cleveland. There's just no more excuses. Carson Wentz is a bad quarterback. He's maybe one of the worst in the NFL. There's no more excuses. Hopefully Hurts gets a chance to pitch in at some point before the end of the year. Don't be fooled by a 1 catch for 8-yard line for Travis Fulgham. He did have 7 targets, which was the most for the Eagles. We don't really know what's going forward, but I'm not saying go out and buy him, but hold him. Don't drop him based on this. The opportunities were there. The production obviously wasn't, and you're disappointed. Just hold on to him. Miles Sanders is not going to be who we want him to be until this Eagles team becomes until it becomes a good team. It's not a good team right now. I don't care if they're winning the NFC East. And look, anytime on the other side with the Cleveland Browns, anybody you want to start in the passing game, the receiving game, that is going to be a problem. They are not necessarily going to be somebody who is going to get enough opportunities to be productive for us. I like what Rashad Higgins did today. I thought he actually looks like he has a pretty good connection with Baker Mayfield. But any options in the passing game for Cleveland Browns, lower your expectations. Nick Chubb is an animal. That was good to see. 7-3 Cleveland Browns.
Not all 7-3 teams are created equally. That said, Miles Sanders is on the bubble with my team. I really had some questions. I had J-Rob for my running back position. J-Rob, Miles Sanders, James Conner, and Josh Jacobs had to sit one. I chose to sit Miles Sanders. So far, looks like the right decision to make. Moving on, Houston and the Patriots. Texans Patriots, Cam Newton, 26 of 40, 365 yards passing. We also see Damian Harris, who we thought could have a big game because of the porous defense that the Texans had. Only had 11 carries for 43 yards rushing and didn't really contribute much to the passing game with one catch for 11 yards. Rex Burkhead looks like he has a torn ACL, and he's going to be out for the remainder of the season. So, unfortunately, Rex Burkhead looked like he was a sexy Rexy here a couple of weeks ago. Is now lost for the season. On the flip side, with Houston, man, Deshaun Watson was good. Was he ever good today? 28, 37, 344, 2 touchdowns, ran in one more. And it was just kind of one of those fun games to watch from Deshaun Watson getting rolling here. Nothing on the running game, though. Duke Johnson, 10 of 15. Pro-size, yes, he still exists. 3 carries, 4 yards. Deshaun Watson was the leading rusher with 6 rushes, 36 yards. Brandon Cooks had a Brandon Cooks game, 4 for 85. Will Fuller, 6 for 80. We said last week, Jordan Atkins could be a sleeper in the tight end position if you're following the Vipercast. He came in a pretty good game here with 5 catches, 83 yards. Houston Texans were able to keep the New England Patriots from reaching 500 because that was going to be a really cloudy division going forward the way with the Bills. And later on, how we'll talk about the Miami Dolphins and what happened there. Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, what do you got? Oh, is this me again?
No, this is me. Vladimir Luton had a very terrible game for the Jacksonville Jaguars, throwing 4 interceptions. All of a sudden, Gardner Minshew starting to feel a little bit better. And then Jacksonville may not necessarily have him as their I'm not sure he's going to come back for the rest of the year. Forget about that. Luton looked terrible. James Robinson, on the other hand, did not look terrible. And I don't care what anybody says. He is not going away. He cannot put the film that he's put together this season and all of a sudden just be nothing next year. Stop with that. That's not going to happen. On the other side, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ben Roethlisberger, it was road Ben, okay, but he came through. He had a pretty nice game. 16 targets for Deontay Johnson. We called for a slump buster for James Conner. Not exactly the slump buster we were hoping for. James Conner still with a good game. And actually, I thought he looked very good as a part of this offense. That team is just going to maybe pass the ball more than we want them to.
For me, this was a fun one. James Robinson, James Conner. James Conner was also on our slump bust watch list. 13 carries, 89 yards. He did contribute in the passing game as well. 3 catches for 10. So 99 yards total. Not a bad week. I wouldn't call it a full slump buster, but it got him going in the right direction considering the last couple of weeks. Now, as we continue on here with the Cincinnati Bengals, Washington Football Club. My bad. Wow. The only thing you can really take from this game was the gruesome leg injury that Joe Burrow suffered, and just happened to be the opposing quarterback happened to be Alex Smith, who himself suffered a grisly injury a few years back.
Mute.
I have a mute button here. Sorry about that. I got kind of kids running around. It's kind of bedtime. People are kind of doing their thing here.
That's what I was going to have 75 kids, folks. Don't do it.
Terry McLaurin had a Terry McLaurin game. 5 catches, 84 yards. He is a wide receiver 1. I don't care how you want to look at it. You go out and trade him because people are not treating him as such. He's not getting treated as a wide receiver 1 right now. He's still getting treated as a wide receiver 2. Go out there, get him, pay a little premium on him, make the guy feel good that they're winning the trade. Also, Antonio Gibson, 16 carries, 94 yards, touchdown. Fantastic game for him. He also contributed with only 1 catch and 10. Now, the one I want to look at is J.D. McKissic. Last week, he had like 9 first-half targets, 15 targets total. He only had 4 targets this week, which was a bit of a letdown, if you ask me, considering all things. On the flip side, Bengals fans, I'm sorry. I apologize now. I'm going to look right in the camera. Ryan Finley's trash. Everything about Ryan Finley's game is trash. I'm sorry, Joe Burrow. We miss you already. But Justin Herbert is still better. Moving on. Atlanta, New Orleans. Let's send it to the Louisiana boy himself. Break it down for us.
Okay, I'm not going to be able to control my excitement on this one. I have branded this day as Taysom Hill Day. It will forever be Taysom Hill Day. The only thing that made it a little bit not as much fun for me is the Joe Burrow injury that you just mentioned, which was awful. But Taysom Hill. So here's the Saints have their quarterback of the future now. You got a 42-year-old Drew Brees. Sean Payton has gushed over Taysom Hill for 3 years. This is a guy that took maybe the most unconventional path to being a starting quarterback, but he's here and he showed today that he can do it. I said he was going to be a top 10 fantasy QB today. He right now is number 3. So he's better than he even was. Sure, there's a couple of passes that he wants back. Guess what? He's going to get into the film room. He's got Sean Payton. He's got Drew Brees. He's got great people that are going to be able to walk him through that, fix those mistakes. I thought this was a huge step in the right direction for Taysom Hill. And honestly, just for the Saints franchise. They have him locked up already. He's going to be there next year. Now we got to figure out if Jameis Winston is going to the Chicago Bears or the Jacksonville Jaguars or where he's going next year. It's not going to be the Saints. He's not their quarterback of the future. It's Taysom Hill. Don't worry too much about obviously, Michael Thomas had a really good game. We want to see that. Don't worry too much about Alvin Kamara and only getting he got 1 target. He did drop a pass. Don't worry about that. He got injured. Let's just wait until we see a fully healthy Alvin Kamara with Taysom Hill. It's going to happen. Let's just wait for it to happen before we freak out. It's not like you're selling Alvin Kamara. Don't worry about that. On the other side, just never start running backs against the Saints. Never do it. They don't give up anything. They give up the least amount of rushing touchdowns to any running back. Tyler Gurley looked terrible today. Just stop starting running backs against the Saints. And I'm a little worried about Julio Jones' injury. His hamstring, the way that the season's going for them, this is just not what you want to see for him at 30, 31 years old. It's a troubling injury for me. Let's look at the waiver wire, see if Russell Gage has been dropped. That's the only real direction that you have for this. But yeah, Taysom Hill. Let's go.
Miami, Denver. Who's got that one?
That's me.
Me?
That's
All
me.
Right, go ahead.
Okay. I don't love Tua getting benched today, but let's not act like all quarterbacks are some fragile snowflake that can't handle being benched, okay? Like, you're going to hear people say this is going to ruin his life and he mentally is never going to be the same. Get out of here. Stop that. He is a professional football player. He is going to show up to work. He is going to be fine. I'm upset because I wanted to see him throw the ball 30, 35 times in a game. I tweeted that out last week. Like, he's had good game scripts. He was finally in the game script where he was going to have to throw the ball that much. He didn't get an opportunity to. That's what I wish we could have seen. Other than that, on the other side, I really liked what I saw from Melvin Gordon, obviously. But look, Phillip Lindsay looked just as good. They were about the same, split the carries. Lindsay actually got 1 more carry. Just Gordon got the 2 touchdowns. But I like what we're seeing, at least for 1 game, out of Denver.
Chargers, Jets. Justin Herbert, fantastic. He was almost at 300 yards in the first half alone. Finishes with a whopping 366 yards, 37 of 49 passing. Kellen Balaj did absolutely nothing, 16 of 44. It was the passing game that got the job done. Keenan Allen, 16, 145 and a touchdown. Mike Williams, 4, 172 and a touchdown. And, of course, we also had a Hunter Henry sighting, 4 for 48 and a touchdown. Chargers got going, got close. Chargers almost charged, almost giving up the lead late in the game to the New York Jets. Green Bay, Indianapolis. What do you got?
I think we learned not to trust Frank Reich today. I think just whatever he says, forget about it. Let's not even report it. We also learned that the Colts defense might not be the elite unit we thought it was. It hasn't faced very many good offenses. It faced a good one today, and they looked really good. Love the fact that JT got to eat. Really nice day for Michael Pittman, but only 3 targets. Are we sure that he's here to stay? I'm not sure. I love the talent. Love what he can do. He looked good. Fully expect Alan Lazard to be playing in front of MVS next week after that ridiculous, terrible, awful fumble.
Rodrigo Blankenship, game-winning field goal in overtime. Put them goggles on, and we are moving on to Dallas, Minnesota in a primetime matchup of quarterbacks that you don't want to be playing in underneath the lights there. Andy Dalton hit Dalton Schultz in the end zone to win the game for the Dallas Cowboys. Meanwhile, Kirk Cousins kept on rolling, 22 of 30, 314 yards and a touchdown. Dalvin Cook kept on cooking with 27 carries, 115 yards and a touchdown, while adding 5 for 45 in the passing game. Adam Thielen, 8 for 123, 2 touchdowns. Justin Jefferson, 387 and 1 touchdown as well. On the Dallas Cowboys side of things, both Ezekiel Elliott and Pollard both found the end zone. Elliott in the passing game, Pollard in the rushing game. And that is your quick little breakdown of week number 11 there. That was game on here right now. Right now, it's Chiefs got the second half kickoff. Raiders leading 17-14. But before we head out, I just want to make sure we throw this out there. We got a little bit of an announcement to make. We have now officially started our clothing line with the Verdian Global. If you want to go take a peek over there, you can kind of find any kind of Viper swag, and there's many more clothing articles coming out. It's not just going to be a t-shirt kind of thing. You're going to go over there, verdianglobal.com/collection/dynasty-vipers. We have t-shirts both for the Vipercast and the dynastyvipers.com itself. Make sure you go check that out. We will have hoodies coming, hats coming, you name it, plus other things, Viper Strike, Slump Busters. You'll catch them on here. If you want a Viper swag, hit up Verdian Global. And with that, enjoy the second half. Calvin, last word to you.
Get some merch. Get some swag. You need some Dynasty Viper swag in your life. Let's go, Raiders.